Good afternoon, Youngstown. We are back again with another episode of Belly Left Leadership. Remember, this leadership podcast is not only about belly left leadership, but about the great things happening in the city of Youngstown and the Youngstown City School District. The belly left leadership mantra is developed off of a simple football play, but it is not about football. It is about planning, preparing, executing at a high level to get the job done, and everyone on the team understanding their role in doing their role, and then making sure that we get the job done on whatever it is that we're planning to do. So I'm excited for today's episode because this is, as a former high school principal, my favorite time of year. We are preparing for our commencement exercises in the Youngstown City School District. And so today we have another one of our valedictorians from East High School. Pause up, Youngstown. So we have also joining us our esteemed principal, Golden Bear 1, Ms. Debra A. Campbell. And so I have her and then our valedictorian, Mr. Max McCormack. So welcome to the podcast, and I'm excited to just talk with you guys a little bit.
Excited to be here.
Excited to be here.
Right. So we're going to dig right in. Start with Ms. Campbell. Ms. Campbell, what are your priorities and goals for your school?
So I've been at East for 7 years and 4 years as building principal. I've seen East grow. My priorities for our school at East is that our scholars become career and college ready, not just to graduate with a job, but to graduate with a career and be able to give back to the Valley and the Youngstown area.
That's wonderful. So that, Max, you tell us about your experiences in Youngstown. How long have you been in the Youngstown City School District? And what are some of your most memorable experiences?
So I haven't actually been in Youngstown for too long. I mean, I moved here August or July, just before my sophomore year.
Okay.
It started. So I've only been at East for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the city. There's a lot of character to it. I've been around a lot of places.
Max, I like that.
I've been to a lot of places. I'm from the Bay Ridge area in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
But I've lived in Philly. I've lived in Florida. So I've been around, and just this is an area I like. I like, as I said earlier, the character it has, and just the people. The places. It's a fun place to live, and it's shaped a lot of my character these past 3 years, who I am today.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to hear, being that you're not necessarily from here, but you've been around, you've been other places, and it's good to know that you had a good experience. And so obviously your academic journey has been one that's been positive, as you are representing the class of 2024 as its valedictorian. Tell us what motivated you to succeed, to excel, and how do you manage your time effectively?
The motivation I find for success, it's not really like a drive to succeed. It's more so I find it like a failure of a. Okay. It's.
Hey, take your time. You're good.
The motivation I've found to succeed academically and just in life, I pride myself in everything I do, not because it's this drive to I want to be the best, but it's more so I don't want to fail.
Okay.
Failure. Everyone has experienced failure at some point in their life, and I think everybody can say failure hurts a lot. When you work towards something and you end up coming short, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So just being able to work off past failures and being like, I don't like the way that feels, and that drives you to want to be in a position to avoid that feeling again. So academically, just trying to put yourself in a position to where you're comfortable. You don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to graduate? How is this going to affect my future? Just avoiding that fear and that unknowingness, finding comfortability academically. It just kind of makes life a lot smoother feeling.
So my next question was, what advice would you give younger scholars? And it sounds like you kind of just gave them some, but is there anything else you would like to add to that?
I find it advice to give younger scholars. So often, being in the position I am, I often get asked, hey, can you help me with some work? Maybe the teacher will ask if I'm ahead, can you help so and so, catch up a little bit. And often I find it's not that people are unintelligent. It's maybe, they don't have the time to dedicate to it, or
Mhm.
maybe the way it's being presented is a little hard for them to understand. So just being able to break it down, like look at it, try to find a way it works for you, because not every method works for everybody.
Mhm.
I've taken math classes where I think the way it was being taught, I didn't really follow it too well, but I would go home and I'd look at it, maybe find a different method online, or talk to maybe my family or my friends about it, and finding just different ways to approach things, make it more accessible to yourself. That really helps, academically and even outside of academics. If it's a sport, or a game, a job, even not everything works the same way for everyone else. So just find what works for you, basically.
So would it be fair to say, maybe make sure you know how to utilize your resources?
Yeah.
It sounds like to me you've found a good way of being able to understand what your strengths are, maybe what some areas are not strengths, but then utilizing the resources around it. And that's a good word for all of our other scholars and our younger folks in the community. Is that none of us know everything. There's things that I'm the superintendent, but there's things that Ms. Campbell's better at than I am, and so I'm going to rely on her for certain things. When we're making big decisions, I think they will tell you a lot of times I'll call our principals together and say, hey, what do you guys think? So utilizing those resources is important. So, Ms. Campbell, as the leader at the Bears Den, tell me, what do you do to foster a school of support, whether it be academically or holistically?
So I think certainly academics is important, but the culture and the climate of the building is extremely important because it provides an environment so that our students can thrive academically.
Mm-hmm.
I pride myself on having managed by walking. Max knows I go to his class every single morning, much to his chagrin sometimes, but I go every single morning. Sometimes I try to teach, sometimes I try to talk. But that visibility is important both to scholars and to staff. I also encourage our scholars to be on track, meeting with them, meeting with families, but making sure that they're emotionally sound and ready to learn. So I create and establish an environment where everyone is welcomed, everyone is valued. So setting that tone and culture so that academics and our scholars can thrive is very important to me.
So just to follow, when I had Ms. Mulcahy on, and she talked about something they're calling success meetings, and I know from experience and working directly with you and working at East, I know you guys do some things similar where you're working with families and scholars directly. So talk to me a little bit about how those success meetings, what determines those, and you might call them something different, but I know you guys are doing the same thing. So talk about those meetings.
So oftentimes we know that those meetings come as a result of maybe a scholar not being on track.
Mm-hmm.
And having those meetings, and then not only to tell them they're not on track, but to find solutions so that they can get back on track. So I would say that our meetings at the Bears Den is success oriented, and what we can do to get our scholars back on track. It doesn't always involve grades. It can involve a social and emotional piece.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're making some wrong decisions.
Right.
Maybe someone else, like our social worker, might be able to touch you. Maybe one of our deans are able to be in the life of a scholar. But making sure that our scholars are on track. We have grade level meetings, and I think one of the most important things is the accessibility of my office, the people who report directly to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the cafeteria. I walk around the cafeteria. I sat next to Max the other day. It was not by design that we were going to have this meeting today. I had my lunch in the cafeteria.
Yep.
And I want to be able for scholars. Just before I came here, I thought I was going to be late because I had two scholars in my office just talking about, they weren't in trouble, but talking about making good life choices, because what we learn at East is what we will carry out into society.
Absolutely. All right. So, Max, I mean, you've been at East, you said about 3 years, but obviously you've been in school before then. So, tell me about your school experience. What experiences have shaped you to be the person that you are today?
Most recently, for my time at East, I think the junior ROTC program there has definitely shaped a lot of who I am.
Yeah.
Sergeant Moon's now retired, and Colonel Alessi's still here, but they could definitely tell you, my sophomore year, I just kind of maybe was starting to fall into the wrong crowds. I was still keeping up academically, but behavior wise, maybe not being or doing what I was supposed to. And then my junior year, I had joined the ROTC program, and they ended up telling me, "You've really impressed us. Like maybe we were wrong about how you are, but that's just how we were perceiving you, seeing you around the hallway, maybe around some of the other cadets." And it's I owe a lot of where I am now emotionally and as an individual to our JROTC program. Colonel Alessi really he strives a lot to like straightening people out, making sure that they're willing to take accountability, put themselves in those leadership positions, and understanding the discipline it takes. 'Cause it's more than just we're in the Army, we're going to get people to join the Army. It's not even about that. It's about they're trying to graduate these students from high school. They're trying to make them better citizens at the end of the day. And I think that's I get to be in charge a little bit of some of the underclassmen or even people in my grade. But I've earned the position I am in the program, and it's definitely shaped a lot of who I am.
We'll circle back a little bit about the purpose of JROTC, but I know you just recently got a special award through ROTC. Talk to us about that a little bit.
So this year I had ended up earning the MOAA award, which I had also earned it last year too. But
Okay. Right.
it recognizes, I'm pretty sure it recognizes students or cadets in their second to last and last years in the JROTC program who are just excelling in what they do. I know she's at YSU now. Our former battalion commander, Ilanise Marcano, had been there last year with me. She earned the ROA award, I believe.
Okay. All right.
And it led to a full ride scholarship there. So there's a lot of opportunities that come from JROTC, but just me putting in that work day in and day out. Some days I get up and I don't want to march, or I don't want to call the commands to march them, but just being able to show up every day and do my tasks, do my work, it's earned me the award. And several others on my uniform.
Yeah. All right. Well, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So you brought it up and you mentioned, just the power, and I can hear it in the conversation, the impact that JROTC has had on you. So it is one of the crown jewels of our district that we definitely want to celebrate. And as like I said, former high school principal at East, but also former high school principal in North Carolina, where we had a JROTC program. The power of JROTC in community, it is not, as Max said, it is not about necessarily recruiting for the armed services or making sure that people go into the service. Now, those are always options, but the program is about building character and about bringing that accountability that you reference. And I have seen it change lives. And so it's always something that we're proud of, that we have that here in the city of Youngstown. And we encourage more of our young people, all of our young people, to maybe take advantage of it. Like I said, it's not about a career in the service, but it is about, character building and those types of things. And then, it's there's a feather in our cap in the district to have one of those programs that has the highest rating of distinction as well. So really proud of it and proud of you for being in that and earning those awards. So you are a valedictorian for East, class 2024. You're about to go out on a new chapter in your life, Max. Tell us what your plans are. What are your future plans, and what are some of the things that you're interested in?
So I've applied for a few colleges. Notably, I've been strongly considering going to YSU. I've been accepted there.
Okay.
Been looking into many scholarships. I've just filled out the Y-Star application,
I
which
was getting ready to say.
Our principals tell us a lot, and my guidance counselor, Ms. DiDomenico, tells me a lot about how important and valuable of an asset it is as a scholarship. It's full ride, pay for everything, housing, books, all that. And not a lot of students actually end up taking advantage of that opportunity. So she's really been hammering in, taking advantage of these opportunities. And then I have other avenues to consider as well. I'm not too decided on a major yet at YSU, but there are certain career paths I'm maybe leaning into. Definitely been considering maybe a field in education.
I heard that earlier. That's why I asked that follow-up question.
Maybe a field in education, especially a lot of my peers, especially being that I'm in a leadership position at ROTC. They see me like demonstrating things and just helping out the underclassmen where I can, when I can, and they're like, "Oh, you're good at this. Like, you should think about it." And I'm like, maybe I'm not too sure, but that's definitely probably the strongest career path on my mind right now. Would be Education.
I think I kind of know some people that if you go get that degree, pretty much guarantee you a job in 4 years. So if you go get that education degree, we would love to have you back in the district. And then at some point you can take this microphone in the seat so I can go do something else. All right. All right. So let's talk about a couple of things. So the podcast is talking about everything we do in the district, but leadership changes organizations, leadership changes lives, it changes family structure. We believe that leadership and all of us understanding our role as leaders can help change our entire valley. So I'm going to start with Principal Campbell. How do you define leadership?
I define leadership as one, being able to assemble people who have been assigned to you
Mhm.
to establish a vision and a mission of which they are a part. They develop that.
Absolutely.
So there is some communication, but being able to inspire others with one vision and one mission. Then a leader also empowers leaders, makes others under them, in this case, her, gives them leadership roles because knowing a leader can't do it all. So a leader has to entrust others so that they too can become leaders. It's not a one man or a one woman show. So I think that it is also in my case as the principal of East, it is inspiring my staff. It is supporting my staff. It is inspiring my scholars
Mhm.
and their families to do their very best. But knowing that everything at the end of the day stops with you and begins with you, and that level of accountability, and the acceptance of such. I have on both of my doors, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Absolutely.
But it is a rewarding experience to be able to impact both the lives of scholars and staff through my leadership, but with their support. And a leader, finally, a leader knows that they can't do it alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Max, what is your definition of leadership?
I think the first word that comes to mind when I think of leadership is integrity. Just being able to do and striving to do what's right and what needs to be done, regardless of if anyone's looking. Just it needs to be done, so you do it. But also, as Miss Campbell said, accountability.
Mm-hmm.
As a leader, that doesn't always just because you're as a leader, just because you're in that leadership position, it doesn't always mean you know everything that's going on. And sometimes the people you're leading may just be better at it.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to take that advice, maybe appoint different people to do different things, or just work with people in different ways. Being able to not let the role of leadership overinflate your ego in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, if the best leaders are those who are able to put themselves down at the ground level and work with those they're leading one to one, as if they're all on the same playing field, because truthfully we all are, we're all people at
Absolutely.
the end of the day.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, just being able to work with those around you, the integrity, the accountability of it.
Love it. Heard that word accountability a lot, and I think that's. I thank you both for bringing that up a lot because it is. We have challenges here in the city of Youngstown and the Youngstown City School District, and I tell people all the time. When I came to East, Ms. Campbell will tell you when I was principal, our local report card wasn't good. Our local report card right now as a district is not good, and I wasn't necessarily here, and neither was she when things kind of fell off the rails. But we own it. We own it, and we said from this point forward. And Max said, I'm learning from you guys. Failure is not an option. We learn from our failures. We learn, and then it's not an option for us to continue to mire in failure. So I am thankful, and I'm very makes me feel good and affirming to hear the same things from you guys as leaders in our district, because I do consider all of us to be leaders. So, any last words, Max, for your classmates, any younger scholars coming behind you that you want to leave for the community as the valedictorian of the class of 2024?
Hold on, let me think about this one. So for underclassmen, maybe graduating next year, or just now entering high school, maybe attending Chauvin for the first time next year. Just savor your time. You kind of, as a high school student, you kind of rush to get to the end. I can't wait to be an adult. But looking back now, these last couple years I've been at East have been probably some of the most formative and most enjoyable years of my life. And a part of me kind of wants to just go back and not change anything, but just feel some things twice. But
Right.
you just, be where your feet are and enjoy the view. Basically, don't try to be somewhere else than where your feet are. Don't think ahead, stuck in the past maybe a little bit. Just try to be where you are, enjoy what's around you is probably the advice I'd give.
Wow. Max, that was powerful, man. I may have to borrow that one.
I'm thinking of a
Alright,
poster that
Yeah. All right, Ms. Campbell, before we close, any words that you want to share with the East community or our community at large about, leadership or East High School?
we will continue to keep our eyes on the prize. And we will continue to work on making East a destination and not an isolation.
I'm not even going to have much else to say after that one. It has been my pleasure. Those of you who most of you do know, I used to be the principal at East. Ms. Campbell was an assistant principal with me. There's a part of my heart that will always be there, but I'm definitely about our entire district now, and we spend our time evenly. But I am proud of the work that is taking place at East High School. Scholars like Max that are making ways for themselves and the district. So again, belly left leadership. Everybody know their job. Prepare, execute at a high level, and keep running it until they stop it.
This podcast is the property of Chauvin Broadcasting and Youngstown City Schools. Chauvin Audio and Video Broadcasting Studios recorded and produced this episode.